Hi, I'm Yoram Solomon, and today I'm going to take you on a tour of my video studio, my home video studio. There's one thing that I tell people in general, and that is whatever happened 1 inch outside of the frame never happened. What I'm going to show you is what happens all around this frame. Now, keep in mind that what I have here is what works for me. Other things might work for you. I'm just sharing what I'm using, why I chose what I did. And instead of taking the camera with me and touring this room, what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to take still pictures and narrate them to explain what you see. So first of all, this is what it looks like outside, 1 inch outside of the frame, and more than 1 inch outside of the frame. This is what I look like when I recorded that short introduction video. This is a bigger look of my studio. I want to focus on several things that I will go into in greater details. The camera that you can see here with the tripod. It's a special tripod. There is a desk that I have that sometimes I do use. My stand for a laptop, you'll see it. This is the microphone. Lights for the green screen. Obviously, you can see the green screen. And this is my twin brother. You will see him later. Next, this is what the studio looks like from my side. You can see the desk if I do need it, the laptop, I'll go back into it, the microphone, the camera, and I even use sometimes a flip chart or use flip charts if I need any. Next, when I take care of, let's start with lighting. When the first thing that I take care about with lighting is to make sure that I have blinds or shades on the windows. I want to control the light that comes from the outside and not let it affect too much. So those are not completely, they don't cause complete blackout, but they do reduce the amount of light that comes from the outside. This way I have better control of the lights. Now, the lights I have in the room are LED lights, but they're not just LED lights. They're LED lights at 5,000, color temperature of 5,000. This is what, when you buy them in Home Depot or any other store, they're referred to as daylight. Daylight would be about 5,000 K. Soft light is typically around the 2600, 2700 K. So I want to make sure that the lighting in the studio is consistent. The best lighting to have is daylight lighting. You can play with it later, but daylight lighting is 5000 K. So make sure that the lights, other than the special lights that you're going to put, the lights that you have in the room that you're going to turn into a studio or is already a studio are consistent. And again, best is to have daylight. And so I actually replaced the light bulbs. I have LED light bulbs there. They're about, I think, $1.50 a piece or maybe $2, but they're all 5,000. The main light or the key light that I have here is this one. It actually is dual color or multicolor. It has LEDs that on one hand are 5,000, or I think that even 6,000, and on the other hand I have 2,600 or 2,700. And if we look at the back of this LED light, there is the ability to actually change the color temperature anywhere between 5,600 to, I believe, 2,700. So I brought it all the way to 5,600 because somehow 5,600 looks more like the 5,000 that I have out of the other lights. The intensity is something that you want to take care of. You want to make sure that you have the right level of intensity as opposed to just having maximum brightness, because maximum brightness can cause washout on my face. So what I found, and really what I found is through playing a lot with everything, with the lighting and every time shooting short videos, taking them down and seeing what they look like on my video editing software until I got to the point I got exactly what I wanted. So a better view of the back of the key light. And you can see that I can go actually from 5600 to 3200K in terms of lighting. And I'm at 85%. I found that 85% on this light worked the best. Now this light, I need it a little high, so it's higher than my face. And the higher you go, the more the light is will potentially tip over. So I have a heavy duty tripod for that light. It's a little more expensive than the regulars, but it is heavy duty, and the probability of the light tipping off with that one is much lower. This is my rim light or my backlight. Now there are several different ways to do that, and I played with it. The way that or the location where I put the rim light or the backlight is above my head and to my right, over my right shoulder, further out, so it's out of the screen, out of the frame. But I put it high and down on my right side, and you will see when you go back to the video that I shot at the beginning and at the end, you will see what it looks like. This is the type of light that I use. And the other way to do it is actually behind me and coming from below. So coming from below, looking up, and behind me. I tried all of the different possibilities with the room lights, without room lights, from behind me and low, from above me and right, and that's the combination that I found that works best for me. Something else might work for you. It's also a matter of what you want to look like. This is the back. There are versions of this light that are dual color. The one that I have here is single color, 5000K, so it's consistent with everything else. And I've set it up for pretty low intensity. You can see I think I'm about 20%. When I was over 20%, it was a little too intense for my taste. I am using a green screen. The green screen is really nothing more than a sheet of green fabric. Nothing special about it. It's something that you get for about $20, I believe. And what I did here is I actually used pins, thumbtacks, to stretch it on the wall. So, the wall is pretty soft, and it's not that hard, and it's not going to be until I take it off that we're going to see the tiny little holes. So I have thumbtacks all around to stretch it, and it needs to be lit. So the light that I'm using for it is actually a type of light that I got at Home Depot for less than $10 with an LED light bulb. And what else you see here is diffusion paper. So there are different types of diffusion paper. This one is completely white. I think it's called 0.5 stop, which is how much it's going to reduce the lighting. And the reason that I put the diffusion light is to get the light to spread more evenly on the green screen. The more even you are spread on the green screen, the better the elimination of green screen with the Ultra Key or Chroma Key is going to be. The microphone I have here is a boom microphone or a shotgun microphone, so it really picks up sound that is right in front of it and not so much from all around. It has the electronics in there to do that signal processing. So first, this is what it looks like from where I am. So from eye level, you can see that it's really kind of aimed at my mouth. It's an Audio-Technica AT875R. I'm going to try and put the names and the links to all the products that I have in the comments below. This is what it looks like from the side with an XLR cable. You will see where this XLR cable goes to. And this is the boom arm that holds it and brings it all the way to me. And you could see it's still outside of the frame, so you couldn't see it when I recorded the video. One thing you'll notice here also is that it does require weight. So there's actually, I think, a 3-pound weight in this little basket or bag that makes sure that the microphone doesn't fall on me. Now, when you're recording, I have a ceiling fan, which is really great to use, not when you're recording, because it will create some wind sound over the microphone, even though it's not right on top of the microphone. In fact, when I'm recording, I also kill the air conditioner and definitely your phone. This takes us to the camera. The camera that I'm using is a Sony NX100. I think it's HXR NX100. This is a 1080 camera. I'm not going to go too deep into the camera here. Maybe in another video I'll talk more about how did I decide to go with this one. This one, when I bought it, was about $1,700. I believe now you can get it for about $1,500. It's amazing that this camera is in production because it's been in production for many years. It has very, very, very good reviews. I put the camera in complete manual mode and I change everything in it manually. I don't want this camera to decide on its own that it needs to change the focus or change the exposure. So manual focus and manual exposure, and essentially manual everything else. I've set all the parameters to what I like. I do have, this is the front, I do have a teleprompter that I sometimes use. I don't use it all the time. And you'll see something that I did with the teleprompter that's kind of not off the shelf. I do have the camera LCD screen pointing at me so I can see what's there, but it's really only when I set the camera up because I can't see it from the 8 feet away where I'm shooting. Another important part is the tripod. This is a heavier camera. The category of this camera is called prosumer camera, and which means that it's between professional and consumer. It's not what you would get in the consumer grade, but it's not all the way to a professional grade that you will have in video studios. It does require a heavier, a more robust, heavy duty, call it, tripod. So this is about a $110, $120 tripod. And as I said, the microphone does plug into the camera directly with an XLR cable. So I do pick it up directly. I'm not using wireless in that room. And I prefer using the shotgun microphone a lot better than having a lavalier microphone on me, because I can move my head around and the sound stays the same, as opposed to lavalier that might actually miss something. There is another microphone on this camera that when I record, it captures both of them, but I typically just disregard the other one. It's more environmental. This is what the screen shows, and really what I wanted to focus on maybe here is just to show that everything is manual. I'm not going to go through the details. You may have a different camera. As I promised, this is my twin brother. I actually don't have a name for him. But my twin brother is someone who's my height. I bought him for his head, actually, for $7 at Michael's. I bought for $4. I bought paint skin tone to match my skin tone. And I even put glasses on it to make sure that reflections, I know if any reflections will happen. The reason for that is simply because typically when I record, there's nobody else at home. And so how do you set everything up? How do you check and make sure that you're not overly exposed, you don't have too high of exposure, that you're in focus and everything? I just put it there. It's on a tripod. I made an adapter that would fit into the 1/4-inch thread of the tripod. And I just put it there. As you can see, we're just about the same height. Those squares that I put on the forehead are for focus, because it's hard to focus on any of the other features, facial features of that head, but those squares make it really easy to focus. Now, sometimes when I record, I use a laptop, and I have a laptop stand, so it holds a laptop right in front of me. And the important thing is what you will see here is that it is below the line of the camera. So I can play with it and just make sure that it doesn't show up in the frame. So I use that sometimes if I want to run a PowerPoint. Alternatively, I have a teleprompter. This is what it looks like. It's really just an iPad with the light reflected through a glass that's tilted at 45 degrees. The black fabric, the felt fabric behind is to make sure that there's no light coming from the ceiling or anywhere around going into the camera lens. Now, one other thing that I do sometimes, you know how you may be recording interview style where you're not looking at the camera, you're looking to the side? Well, this is what I did. I took this teleprompter, and instead of making it something that holds the camera as well, which typically they do, I separated it. And so I will have to put the teleprompter in front of the camera or move it away. I don't have to remove the camera from the tripod, its own tripod. I can just move the teleprompter and just speak to the teleprompter. And if I shoot that video, when I record that video, you will see that I look like I'm being interviewed, looking to the side and not directly at the camera. I do have a 7-inch monitor. That monitor is close to me, and you will see that I hold the, I see what I look like much closer, and it's a lot easier to see what the image is going to look like than trying to see it from a distance at the tiny display that the camera has. So this one is much closer to me, still outside of the frame. Now I have some props. Sometimes instead of standing, I can record sitting on a high director's chair. It's not the lower one, it's the higher one. I have a bar stool, so in some case I may just decide to be sitting at the bar stool. And sometimes I use a desk and a chair. It really depends on what is it that I'm trying to convey, what is the best setting. And that's essentially it. And this is it. This is my video studio. I hope this was helpful. Again, everything here is what I chose for myself, what works for me. Other things might work for you. If you have any questions, just let me know. Thank you, and may trust be with you.